Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Sandra and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 trailer. So I just want to start off by saying that the first Five Nights at Freddy's movie, not my favorite. However, I am a huge fan of the games. I don't play games myself. I actually suck at video games, but my guilty pleasure is watching people play video games on YouTube. And one of my favorite YouTubers, Markiplier, I watched him play all of the Five Nights at Freddy's games up until the Secret of the Mimic, which is technically a prequel to all of the Five Nights at Freddy's games, but we're not gonna get into that. So in this new trailer, we got introduced to 6 new characters. We have Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, Toy Chica, Mangle, Balloon Boy, and the Marionette Puppet. Now, I'm super excited for these characters. However, what I was really hoping for is that this movie was going to be a little bit more on like the sister location, but maybe that could be coming in another movie. I don't know. But I am excited to get kind of like a new scene. I am loving the end of the trailer if you guys have watched the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 trailer. So at the very end of the trailer, you actually see Mike in the game, in one of the game settings. You see a vent on his left, vent on his right, and then there's just an open space and then there's a desk. And in the game, you have to check the vents, and then you have to put a flashlight up, and you'll see Mangle. And you have to flash Mangle. Mangle will go away. But there's also another thing in the game where you have to grab a Freddy mask and put it over your head. And he picks it up, and he's like, is this really gonna work? And for some reason that just like got me so giddy, and I was so excited because like I've watched Markiplier play all the games, and so it got me super excited for the movie. I'm not gonna lie, I don't have high hopes, but I'm a huge fan of the game, so I gotta watch the movies. What I am excited for is with this new trailer, we also got to kind of see some flashbacks between Vanessa and her dad. If you don't remember, her dad is William Afton, who is Springtrap in the first movie, and he does die in the first movie, so obviously this is going to be a lot of flashbacks, but I'm excited to kind of see the dynamic between those two because I have a little bit of a theory, and I'm kind of hoping I'm right, but we'll have to see in this movie that Vanessa is going to turn into Vanny. If you guys have ever played or watched any of the FNAF games, there's one and it's called Security Breach. And in that game, there's a security guard and her name is Vanessa, and she turns into Vanny, and she makes this like, this whole costume, and she's a bunny, and she also creeps around and tries to catch you as well. So I'm really excited to see if something like that's gonna happen. I was kind of hoping in this new trailer that we were going to kind of get a little bit more of sister location. When I saw that Five Nights at Freddy's 2 was coming out, that's what my hope was. But I am just excited to see new characters in general. But I really love Ballora, and I also love Circus Baby. Now, I will have to say, in the beginning of the trailer, you see a present, and the girl looks up and she screams. And I want to say that that could be Circus Baby in there. Circus Baby could be popping up, and she's there because she's pretty big from what I can remember. But I also read somewhere, I did some research, I read somewhere that Abby, who is not my favorite character, and I also had to look this up because I had to make sure she wasn't part of the game, and she's not. She's just part of the movie. It's somebody that they made up for the movie, I guess, so she could actually communicate with the animatronics because they are the spirits of children. That sounds so weird when you say it out loud like that. But I don't really love Abby's character, especially when they're dancing around in the scene in the first Five Nights at Freddy's movie. But we can save that for another video. But I did see somewhere on the internet that Abby is kind of an anagram for baby, or it could be an anagram for baby. And I thought that could be a really interesting twist if Abby becomes Circus Baby. Now, for that to happen, Abby would have to die and her soul would have to be in Baby, which also sounds really gruesome when you say it out loud. But that is the only way that she would be able to be Circus Baby. And in sister location, Circus Baby does help the person. Now, I have to go back and watch it, because I can't remember if she like betrays you at the end, but she's good and she helps you along the way, which would make sense because Abby is trying to help the animatronics, and I feel like she would do the same thing. Another theory that I saw was that Abby kind of could be a correlation between Elizabeth Afton, but that really wouldn't make sense because she's not the daughter of William Afton. So I kind of cut that one out, but I still thought it was an interesting correlation that people were trying to put Abby like into the game a little bit. But I think that's kind of a far stretch. I kind of like the baby theory better. The one thing I can say is that I am very excited for this movie, although the first movie wasn't really my favorite. What I would really love to see is more of the video game lore in the movie. And I know that we do get some of that, but I feel like Abby talking to the souls and just, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the storyline they've come up with. Sorry, my dog's in the background. I'm not a huge fan of the storyline that they've come up with. I really wish that they would have stuck with the video games. But I am still excited for this movie, and I'm really hoping it's gonna be good, and I will do a review of the movie after I do see it. I think it comes out December 5th, so we'll see. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.